Last week, I worked at the cutest little bookstore coffee shop. In that small space, the collection had to be heavily curated, with just one or two books by popular authors and launching points for popular series books for kids. But despite the lack of space, the shop still made room for one full bookshelf for staff recommendations, covers facing out. Each employee had their own shelf. Sarah recommends, Tia recommends, William recommends, that kind of thing. And while I obviously had plenty of my own ideas about what authors I might like to read, I found myself spending a good chunk of my browsing time at that cute little coffee shop bookstore, finding out what Sarah, Tia, William, and the rest of the crew wanted to recommend. After all, if someone took the time to share their top favorites, I knew they must be worth my time. It's this bees to honey concept that makes me return time and again to the importance of the classroom library and the way you display it. While it's easy to brush off the aesthetics of the library, I repeatedly find they matter a lot. Fresh displays, careful displays, displays that center books that students love the most. These things support your reading program from the outside in. Students can't become readers without the right books. And the physical space of the library is our chance to show off those books. So, this week I want to gift you a fun fall display that I made for you, and I want to walk you through how to put it up in hopes that this can be a big win for your readers heading into this season of reading. Later on this fall, maybe you'll want to add a banned books display and a Hispanic Heritage Month display. But for now, for this display, we're focusing on putting student favorites at the center. Be sure you follow the link in the show notes today at nowsparkcreativity.com to make your copy of the display we're going to be talking about. Okay, let's dive in. Welcome to the Spark Creativity Teacher Podcast, a podcast for English teachers looking for more creativity, more engagement, more joy, and no more scripted curriculum, lesson planning ruts, or boring book lists. I'm Betsy Potash, and I'm honored you're trusting me to help. You're not alone on this creative journey anymore. Okay, first things first, I'm just going to describe this display for you because, as usual, we're running into the whole audio podcast thing. I will also put a picture in the show notes so that you have the sense of it, although, of course, I think everybody's going to create their own iteration in their classroom. But the basic idea is that you have a big tree on your wall. Now, it could go on your chalkboard, your whiteboard. You could throw up some butcher paper and give your artistic students some markers. The idea is you invite a few students who are good at drawing to make a big, interesting tree on your wall. Then you take my little printable letters and put up "Fall in Love with a Book," and you have some shelf space ready to go. Once you have that as your base, then you can build this display. So let me walk you through it. The first thing is to pass out this handout I've created for you that's going to let your students be the ones to recommend the books in the display. So you're going to give them these papers that have different shapes of leaf on them, and then they have instructions for how to fill out their leaf with a book recommendation. It's pretty basic. They put the title of the book they want to recommend and a little 3-sentence review recommendation. And I walk them through the 3 sentences. So it's like a little hook, why somebody might want to read this book, a little quick summary that doesn't spoil the book, and then some kind of a comparison between the book and another series of books that students might like, or a type of movie that students might like, or a type of writing, whatever. So they're going to have this leaf when they finish, and you can art it up as much as you want, or you can not art it up at all. You know, if you have some colored pencils and you want to say, like, if you finish early, you know, give your leaf some fall color and then cut it out. That's great. If you feel like your students aren't going to want to do that, that's fine. They can be white leaves, or you can print them on colorful sort of fall types of paper if your copy room has like some reds and some oranges. So then you're going to have all these leaves, right, with book recommendations of the best book your students have read lately. Now you're going to take those leaves after school and you're going to be looking at this beautiful tree that 1 or 2 or 5 of your students drew for you on the chalkboard or on your big roll of paper on the wall. And you're going to look at all these recommendations. What did students choose? Okay. And you're going to go to your library or you're going to go to the school library and you're going to try to find some of those books, right? So that you can put them out in your display. And then you're going to tape the leaves around the bookshelf with the books on it. So you're probably not going to be able to find every single book that was a favorite with your students. But try to put a leaf with the recommendation from a kid near the book that they're recommending. So if somebody loved the graphic novel Mexikid and you've got this little leaf with a great hook for why somebody should read Mexikid, tape it on the shelf right by Mexikid, right? And do that as much as you can. But then you can just sort of tape the leaves all around your shelf. You can make a waterfall of leaves coming down. You can tape some of them on the tree if you want. And the last piece that I think would be fun and that I recommend, and it may sound a little intimidating, but honestly, I have screenshotted a lot of book covers in my life and it doesn't take that long. I would go in and grab screenshots or download the images of a bunch of the book covers of books that students really love and print those up and tape them to your tree like leaves. Okay, so your final display is going to be like this cool student-created tree covered in book covers, the letters saying fall in love with a book, the books that kids most like, and then reviews from students to other students why you might like this book. Now, let's talk about what I love about this display. 1, you're giving some ownership over the space and the library to your students. Your artists drew the tree, your students chose the book, the students created the recommendation cards, and they chose the books that you're displaying covers out. That is a great first step in the year toward creating a reading culture. Number 2, you now know a bunch of books that your students love. Now, are those going to be the only ones you recommend this year? No, I'm sure you know a whole bunch more books that your students will love, which is awesome, and they deserve the chance to benefit from your expertise on that. But you can grab some of their favorites for First Chapter Friday, for book tasting, for quick book talks that you give or they give, at the same time that you sometimes grab the books that you remember that your students loved last year or the year before, the ones you read over the summer because you saw them recommended on Instagram and you know your students are going to love them, right? All of that is valid. But you're now swimming in a stream of student favorites and you can incorporate those into your program in ways large and small. As you move forward into the year, keep this idea in mind of centering books that students love, of handing over some of the ownership of the reading culture to your kiddos. You can do this also in the way you do check-ins and assessments on your reading program throughout the year. I really don't recommend something like they write a quick summary every time they read or they do a book report. I think if you can possibly do your check-ins in ways like this, where they're passing on their love of a book to their peers or warning their peers off and saying, definitely don't read this book, then they have this authentic audience for those check-ins. They have a chance to feel that they are influencing other students in their reading and you're building the reading culture instead of making them feel like you're sort of hovering over their shoulder to check that they really read. So you can have them do book talk podcasts, which you then make available to students trying to choose books, or you can have them create book trailer videos, which you show for 2 minutes whenever class ends early. You can invite them to do little selfie snapshots for a bulletin board where they write, stars out of 5 and why. Anything like that, it is a chance for you to see what they read and to see, how they're understanding it or liking it. But more than that, it's a chance to build the reading culture of the classroom. And I think that becomes a snowball that will really pay off for you throughout the year. When it comes from the community and not just you, it is more powerful, even though you also know a ton of books that your kids would like. Okay, my friend, I will be sending this display out on Friday. If you're already on my email list, you're going to get it to your inbox on Friday. If you're not yet, again, I'm just going to put the link in the blog post over at nowsparkcreativity.com, just straight to Google Drive, where you can make a copy of the display. Because really, for this podcast to be the quick win I want it to be for you, you need to print out the materials. So those are waiting for you. Please do get them. Until next time, take care of yourself and stay creative.